the reporters hadn't asked him about the Jerry Jones segregation area photo that has emerged last week, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott was asked about his reaction to the photo yesterday. Take a listen.
I mean, I think that's on Jerry to address, right? I mean, in the same sense, it's 65 years ago. And how times have changed. I mean, look at the man's resume since then, right? And as I said, I give grace. And I think that's a conversation and a question not only for him, but for you guys and how y'all feel, how accountable y'all have been in covering and discussing the disparities and differences in race.
So you see, Dak kind of flipped it back on the media. RC, I know you guys had a really lively discussion about this on the pivot. What do you think you need to hear from Jerry Jones out of this going forward?
I don't really need to hear anything from Jerry Jones. Everything I've ever needed to hear from Jerry Jones has given me. I think the picture is not necessarily what people should be focused on. Think about some pictures or some things that you did at the age of 14. Jerry Jones was growing up in the 50s in Arkansas, where segregation wasn't the anomaly. Segregation was the norm. Prejudice was the norm. Racism was the norm. So then you have to say to yourself, but is this Jerry Jones's foundation? Has Jerry Jones grown from this foundation? And I agree with Dak, who was I didn't envy his position in the sense that he has to talk about his owner. He has to stay on the right side of that. This is an owner who's only had 2 black defensive coordinators throughout his tenure on the team. I think that lasted 3 or 4 years. He's never had a black offensive coordinator. He's never had a black head coach. We've never been in a conversation that a black head coach was close to getting a job in Dallas. When they were interviewing for Mike McCarthy's hire, Mike McCarthy stayed at his house when he was on his interview. And I think also the black candidate, who I believe was Marvin Lewis, did not stay at his house, right? There's a difference there. Also, think about 2016, 2017, 2018. Jerry Jones said that any protest throughout the game is a disrespect of the American flag. It's a disrespect of the country. He will not have a player be a part of those protests. And when he was finally forced to allow his team to protest, he hijacked it, right? He made it something that was about Jerry Jones. He made it something that was about America. But that wasn't what was being talked about. It was about police brutality. It was about the way that black Americans are being treated differently from white Americans, and differently as far as the way that they're talked to, and the way that they're policed, and the way that they're legislated, and the way that they're treated in the courts. All those things were different, but Jerry Jones wouldn't allow his players to talk about that. There were people who had issues with Dak Prescott because Jerry Jones said, no, not on my team. Now, see, that's where it comes into play. That's where the picture matters, because you can grow from your foundation. You can learn new things. And playing players that make you rich doesn't make you not racist. Playing players that make you rich doesn't mean that you don't have prejudice toward them. And all Jerry Jones has shown throughout his career is that a black man will not elevate past team scout or a past player scout in the executive office, because then you have too much authority. Then you have too big of a voice. I don't know that picture says Jerry Jones is a racist. That picture does say that racism is a foundation of who Jerry Jones is. And that should make you look at his track record as an owner. And his track record as an owner definitely says he isn't pushing for diversity. And diversity certainly isn't something that matters to Jerry Jones. It could be that the only color that matters to him is green, but he ain't not taking black over green in no way.
Well, you know, after I think it was their last game, he was asked about that, Sam, and he said, listen, I was a 14-year-old kid. I was just curious. That's why I was there at that step. I just wanted to see what was going on. I got in trouble from my high school coach for being there. But I know a number of people will say, and I'll play devil's advocate, can't you evolve? That was 60-something years ago. Can't you evolve as a person?
Well, the two things I would say are these. Number one, I find it interesting how in 2017 or 18, Jerry Jones is saying, well, any protest, we're not going to stand for it. Yet when he was protesting, quote unquote, at 14 years old, protesting schools integrating, it was totally okay in his eyes. And so I find that very telling and very interesting, number one, because it's almost like, well, it depends what you're protesting. Right. If I'm going to protest for what I think back when I'm 14 and 15, it wasn't just him in that picture. Mind you, it was a lot of people in that picture, a lot of people that didn't believe that schools should be integrated. Right. A lot of people that are now leading companies, leading organizations. Maybe some of them are running teams. This is and was the norm. And now, granted, things have changed, but a lot of this hatred and the racism and bigotry and the bias now has gone below and beneath the surface. It's not as obvious as it was back then. And so that's part one on that piece. And then secondly, yes, people can grow and change and evolve, right? Like that's a real, actual thing. But the fact of the matter is, when you're young, 14, 12, 15, 18, these are our foundational years. These are the years where we're really formed and our mind is growing. And so think about it, whether it was his parents, him, those around him, now as he grows, maybe his kids, this is what you're around. This is what you believe and what you see. And so, yes, change is possible. Growth is possible. We would hope for that and aim for that. But number one, you have to acknowledge that this is who I was. You can't say, well, no, this is what it was.
Yeah.
65 years ago, this is what America was. And it wasn't that long ago, right? Jerry Jones still alive and well. He was a 15-year-old, 14-year-old kid. But it was still a real thing. So we all need to acknowledge not only him, but everyone else in that picture and what America was and is and how it can change once we address the issues that are in front of us, even if they are beneath the surface.
It's a much needed conversation. Unfortunately, we only have a few minutes. We can go on for hours about this. Hey, coming up, Russell Wilson's big contract with the game. That's actually funny. Watching Josh Allen on that play made me laugh. Legit out loud chuckle. A hearty one. 0 F's to get what we know what he means by that. Play quarterback. He would play for the Bills and wear number 17. Okay, RC. Let's explain yourself. By the way, did the Bills prove last night that they have returned as the beast to beat in the AFC?
What's great about these shows is when you get to listen to other people that are really good at their job, like Sam Acho. They say some things, and it makes you think differently. Here's what I will say, especially after hearing that tweet. He was right about one thing. Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen. Now, like that, the throw where he shakes off Mac Wilson and he goes to the sideline, jumps off of the 1 foot, throws it across his body, gets the touchdown. That was a great throw. But there was a throw later in the game that was called back because of holding by the tight end. That was even better. On the run, 60 yards down the field, hit Stephon Diggs in the 4. That excites me, right? Because that says Josh Allen is back to being the same Josh Allen that we know that has the most arm arrogance in the entire NFL. But as far as just beating the New England Patriots, I'm not impressed. The New England Patriots have a quarterback who my colleague Rex Ryan says has a pop gun arm every single Monday who's screaming, the run game sucks. Well, Mac, the run game has carried you for the entirety of your little short career. So I think you should probably hope that the rest of the team doesn't scream that the pass game sucks every time the pass game sucks, because they basically be screaming it 80% of the time. That's the type of team you beat. And so when you think of the Buffalo Bills beating the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions in 5 days, and then now coming and beating the New England Patriots, they are holding serve. They're doing what they're supposed to do. I did like the run game last night, the defense keeping the football in front of them, playing physical against the run game and finding a pass rush outside of Von Miller. But you have to watch this team go forward when they start to play the elite of the AFC again, because last night doesn't tell us much about the Buffalo Bills that we didn't already know.
What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I agree with RC on that point. I agree with the fact that we didn't learn anything new from Buffalo, but I wasn't.
I disagree on that one, because they had 37 rush attempts and 33 pass attempts. So they actually ran the ball more than they threw the ball last night. And that's because they were, number one, they had control of the football. They were able to run at will. And they also had 132 yards rushing. So you look at the Bills, you don't think that they're a rushing football team. Well, last night they were out physicaling the Patriots. They were running the football when they wanted to run the football. And when you do that, that helps your quarterback. So that helps the passing game, and it helps save your quarterback so he didn't take as many shots.
But also show that you can close out a football game.
Exactly. Yeah. And you could time of possession, and then as many plays that they're able to run, they controlled that game start to finish.
I think so. I saw the same thing, and I think the reason was a little bit different. The reason that I say that Buffalo ran the ball was I believe they wanted to not necessarily save Josh Allen's arm, but think about this. The last game they played was Thanksgiving, so they had a whole week to recover. They had a Sunday game, then Thanksgiving, recover. Now they're playing on another Thursday night game. Now you have a little extra time to recover for this last December, January, February push. And so I believe that Buffalo can close out games. They've been able to do it in a lot of their games. Obviously, you talk about the interceptions that he threw earlier in the season. doesn't look good in the red zone. But I think that this time that Josh Allen had to recover and get better gives me confidence for their future. I don't think that they're going to be a run-first team down the line, but I think for now, if you can win the games running the ball, then sure, it's going to look boring and not fun and exciting, but you're going to win.
Right. Well, does fun win Super Bowls? I mean, I don't think so. I think having a team that is deep and that is, multifaceted, like the Bills have shown. This is like looking at a guy and being like, oh, he's smart, funny, and he looks good. Like the defense looked good without Von Miller. They can run the ball. Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen. He also looked like Josh Allen in the not great ways when you see him. He did have some questionable decisions in the second quarter, had a couple near picks. But to me, the depth that they've shown and being able to run and throw the ball, no, they don't have to be a run-first team. I don't want to see that. I want to see Josh Allen throwing the ball, but I also want to see them run the ball and hold the ball and have that time of possession to win big games.
Brooke, that's a great question. Real quick, you said, does fun win Super Bowls? I haven't won any. You have. Nico and RC, you've won Super Bowls.
Did you have
fun? What wins Super Bowls?
Sometimes it wasn't fun, but when the confetti's falling down, it doesn't matter what you went through to get there. It was fun.
It was their first division win. Do they need to win their division if they're going to win the Super Bowl? Because you talked about the Chiefs.
I think home field helps. It definitely helps them.
All right, guys. We'll talk more about this in the next hour. A day after LeBron